मैं पूछता हूँ एक बार जी। Excuse me. Good evening, everyone. If anyone wants to ask a question to the panel, please write down your name on the chat and put it in the.
यहाँ से यहाँ से ऑन रहेगा, ठीक है। इसको ऐसे करोगे टैप, ये लाल हो गया तो ऑन हो गया।
I request the member executive committee members to escort Honorable Mr. Justice Suryakant, Chief Justice of India, Honorable Mr. Justice B.V. Nagaratna, Judge Supreme Court of India, Mr. R. Venkatramani, Learned Attorney General for India, Honorable Ms. Justice Pratibha M. Singh, Judge High Court of Delhi, and Professor Rasmi Salpekar, Dean Vivekananda School of Law, whips to the dais.
I told your program is in the Women Bar Association, that small room. It's only after leaving the chamber, then they asked me to come down. Then I said, where are we going?
I welcome Honorable Mr. Justice Suryakant Ji, Chief Justice of India, Honorable Ms. Justice B.V. Nagaratna, Judge Supreme Court of India, Mr. R. Venkatramani, Learned Attorney General for India, Honorable Ms. Justice Pratibha M. Singh, Judge Delhi High Court of Delhi, and Professor Rashmi Salpekar, Dean Vivekanand School of Law, Honorable Justice Varale Sir, Judge Supreme Court of India, law officers present here, Vipin President, Nikhil Jain Secretary Skora, senior advocates, members of the bar, members of the different bar association who are in large number here, and students from different law colleges. I request Ms. Rachna Gandhi, Executive Member SCBA, to come forward and present planter to Honorable Mr. Justice Suryakant, Chief Justice of India. Now I request Mr. Kumar Gaurav, Executive Member SCBA, to come forward and present planter to Honorable Mr. Justice B.V. Nagaratna, Judge Supreme Court of India. I request Mr. Upendra Mishra, Member Executive SCBA, to present planter to Mr. R. Venkatramani, Learned Attorney General for India. Now I request Mr. Mukesh Kumar Singh, Executive Member SCBA, to come forward and present planter to Honorable Ms. Justice Pratibha M. Singh, Judge High Court of Delhi. Now I request Mr. Rohit Vats, Executive Member SCBA, to come forward and present planter to Professor Rashmi Salpekar, Dean Vivekananda School of Law, whips. A very warm welcome to all of you to our panel discussion, We, Women Empowerment in Law, Strength, Struggle and Success. Today's program is about recognizing the realities of women in the legal profession, their courage, the obstacle they face, and inspiring successes they achieve despite those challenges. Every woman in law carries a story of hard work, balance, and resilience. Together, these stories have shaped a more inclusive and progressive legal community. This discussion is not only to celebrate how far we have come, but also to understand what more needs to be done to ensure equal opportunities, respectful workplaces, and supportive system for women advocates. On behalf of the Supreme Court Bar Association, I warmly welcome our esteemed panelists, all participants, and thank you for joining us today to share, reflect, and inspire. Mr. Vikas Singh, President SCBA, could not join the gathering physically due to his partner matter continuing. He has sent his recorded video. I request the technical team to play the video.
My Lord the Chief Justice of India, Justice Suryakant, My Lord Justice B.V. Nagaratna, Judge Supreme Court of India, Justice Pratibha Singh, Judge of the Delhi High Court, the learned Attorney General for India, Professor Rashmi Salpekar, Dean of the Vivekananda Institute of Law, Honorable Judges of the Court of this Court, Honorable Judges of the High Court, Rahul Kaushik, Vice President of the SCBA, Pragya Baghel, Secretary of the SCBA, other EC members of the SCBA. It's indeed my very bad luck that on one of the most important subjects, which is very close to my heart, I am unable to be present physically. It is just by chance that when the date was given by Justice Nagaratna to start with, I completely did not realize that there was a matter which was already fixed before, Pathad matter outside Delhi. Nevertheless, it is a matter which is concerning, which is really a matter of great concern for the entire Executive Committee of the SCBA and including me. We have been always talking about gender inclusion. The struggles of women in our profession are really, really manifold. And it's also a sad part that women are not properly represented in our profession, especially in the amongst the senior advocates and also amongst the judges in the higher judiciary. Problem of a woman in our profession starts with her internship. Second becomes her problem as far as placement is concerned. And then when she gets into the practice, she has problem of childbirth invariably and managing a family. All these take a huge toll on the woman as far as her initial journey in the profession is concerned. And that is why it is all the more necessary upon all of us to ensure that we provide all kinds of assistance to the women in this profession so that they are able to equally participate with men as far as getting higher positions in the profession is concerned. Elevation again becomes a struggle because unlike men who are able to lobby for elevation, women have a huge disadvantage in even trying to lobby for becoming judges. And this is why I've always been saying that lobbying should be a disqualification for being appointed as a judge of the higher judiciary. It's also a matter of, it's quite a matter of regret that in Supreme Court today only we have one Supreme Court judge out of 33, which translates to hardly 3% of the Supreme Court for women. I really wish that this program which is being held today is a huge success. It is able to bring out issues which can really help women in the long run, and we can be able to achieve gender inclusion by virtue of the deliberation that happens in the program of today. I wish all success to the SCBA for firstly deciding to host this program and also for taking the initiative of gender inclusion in a more comprehensive way. Thank you.
Today panel discussion is also on the Advocates Day. So in the memory of Dr. Rajendra Prasad, and today is also International Disability Day. So this panel discussion holds important place. So now I request Dr. Monica Gosai, Senior Executive Member, SCBA, to introduce the panelists.
Distinguished dignitaries, esteemed members of the bench and the bar, respected faculty, students, colleagues, and especially the advocates, lady advocates who have come all the way from Bhiwani, District Gurgaon, District Rewari in Haryana. A very good evening to all. Today, we gather not merely for a panel discussion, but for a collective celebration of women's strength, success in the legal profession. Leadership that continues to redefine justice, dignity, and constitutional values in our courts. The presence of our remarkable dignitaries today reminds us that the strength of a legal system lies not only in its institutions, but in the visionaries who guide it. As a poet reminds us, Bade mukabil means opposing winds. Se kyun ghabraye hai ekab is eagle. Ye chalti hai tujhe ऊंचे उठाने के लिए. It is an honor to begin the event. It is an honor to begin the event by welcoming Honorable Justice Suryakant, whose journey from a small town lawyer in District Hisar to the 53rd Chief Justice of India is nothing short of historic. His jurisprudence is marked by boldness, empathy, and constitutional clarity, from matters of Article 370 to anti-corruption reforms, free speech, gender equality. On family law, Honorable Justice has powerfully asserted that marriage cannot be a tool of subjugation and that women must stand as equal partners in dignity and autonomy. His leadership has translated philosophy into action, from directing protections for domestic workers to ensuring 1/3 representation for women lawyers in bar associations, including SCBA, opening doors for greater inclusivity in the legal profession. Only 2 days ago, my Lord has directed reservation of 5 posts for women lawyers in upcoming SCBA Nagpur elections. Bahut sadhuwad. Sharing the stage today is a jurist whose voice has transformed matrimonial and civil jurisprudence, Honorable Justice B.V. Nagaratna, Judge, Supreme Court of India. Her judgments have recentered matrimonial litigation on fairness and lived realities, from landmark rulings on permanent alimony to the crucial principle that vague and omnibus allegations cannot be a basis for criminal prosecution. Beyond the courtroom, Justice Nagaratna has articulated a philosophy that defines era of gender justice. The progress of women is not an invasion of established spaces. It is the dismantling of historic exclusion. She has identified the 3 pillars that must shape women's journey in law: entry, retention, and advancement, a blueprint for reform, not just hope. Adding to the voice of the legal fraternity, we are honored to welcome Dr. R. Venkatramani, Attorney General for India, a towering jurist with over 4 decades of practice before the Supreme Court of India. His contributions through litigation, being involved in the work done by the Constitutional Review Commission and as a member of the Law Commission of India, have shaped the very vocabulary of Indian jurisprudence. His commitment to gender equality is not limited to courtroom advocacy. It is philosophical, expressive, and humanistic. In his own poetic words, in the poem composed by him titled Holy March of Equality, equality is not an abstract legal aspiration, but a collective march, one that continues until every woman can say without hesitation and without limitation, "We are free, we are free." We are also privileged to have with us Honorable Justice Pratibha M. Singh, Judge, Delhi High Court, a visionary in the field of intellectual property law and a fierce champion of women empowerment. Her legal journey, from a pioneering IP litigator to an influential judicial voice, has reminded India that women must not merely participate in law, but lead it. She has consistently called for women to assert their rights in business, innovation, property, professional spaces, and family life. Her message is deeply structural. Women do not need more encouragement. They need systems designed to allow them to thrive in creativity, entrepreneurship, and leadership. Bringing academic brilliance and lived research to this discourse, we are delighted to welcome Professor Dr. Lakshmi Salpekar, a distinguished scholar of public international law and human rights. She is Dean at Vivekanand School of Law and Legal Studies, Delhi. Her work surpasses academic circles, from interacting with women refugees across nations to conducting empirical research with adolescent girls and women teachers in ashram schools, to extensive research on land and farmers' rights. Her writing, teaching, and field studies remind us that gender justice begins with understanding lives and realities beyond courtroom walls. Her work stands as a testament that legal empowerment is incomplete without social empowerment and educational transformation. Together, these five luminaries, from the highest constitutional office to the Supreme Court, High Court, the nation's foremost law officer, and one of India's premier legal scholars, represent not only knowledge but courage, not only progress but purpose. They remind us that justice is not a static doctrine. It is an evolving responsibility that demands representation, dignity, equality for every individual, especially the most vulnerable. We are truly privileged this evening for the gracious acceptance by the eminent dignitaries for this panel discussion that brings profound judicial insight and dignity to our gathering. Over to Madam Secretary.
Please give seats to senior advocates, please. I request, please give seats to senior advocates, please. With this, thank you, Monica ma'am. With this, I request Dr. Andita Pujari ma'am, Senior Executive Member SCBA, to speak about the survey conducted by the SCBA, a first of its kind survey documenting the life experiences of women advocate practicing across Delhi NCR.
Good evening, everyone. Honorable the Chief Justice of India, Honorable Justice Nagaratna, Honorable Justice Pratibha Singh, Honorable the Attorney General for India, and Madam Rashmi, and an amazing group of stakeholders in this judicial system who is before me. So I'm here to present the key findings of the study that the SCBA did conduct. I would request the technical team to start the PPT, please. That would make it quicker and easier for everybody to. We can go to the next slide. I'm delighted to present the key findings of the Supreme Court Bar Association survey titled Documenting Voices of Women Advocates of Delhi NCR. The results are startling, especially as we mark 100 years since the passage of the Legal Practitioners Women Act of 1923, which granted women the right to practice in India. We draw inspiration from the courage and persistence of Regina Guha, Sudhanshu Bala Hajra, Cornelia Sorabji, and each one of you, and all of the numerous other women who even today continue to challenge the boundaries paving the way for generations of women advocates. The survey brings together the lived experience of about 301 women advocates practicing across the Supreme Court, High Court, District Court, tribunals, and various other forums of Delhi NCR. This gives us a rich and representative understanding of women's professional journey in Delhi NCR. This slide that is before you, the previous slide that was before you, these are the questions that we asked in the survey, and the results are very interesting. Slide 2 and 3, if the technical team can move that, actually represents the questionnaire and the sample space. We begin with the questionnaire that was shared with the respondent. It captures the significant aspects of women advocates' professional lives. It includes their background, first generation status, professional experience, leadership opportunities, challenges, impact of marriage, motherhood, support systems, career preferences for the next generation. Together, this framework helped us to gather a holistic picture of the realities women encounter in this profession. We received an overwhelming response from 301 women advocates across Delhi NCR, which strengthens the reliability of the finding that has been arrived at here. The next slide, the first generation lawyers and professional experience. Question 4 and 5 in the survey talked about it. The first major insight comes from the question on first generation status. The data shows about 84.1% of respondents are first generation lawyers, and only 15.9% come from the legal families or the legacy lawyers. Question 5 talks about, this indicates a strong and rising trend of women entering law without family networks and building their journey independently. When asked about their experience as women advocate, the responses show a mixed landscape. We have not been able to give a very detailed analysis of the data because we have only received it on first, and very quickly we are just presenting the prima facie analysis that we could have done in a span of 2 days. So about 38.5% of women describe their experience as sometimes encouraging and sometimes discouraging in this profession, which means they have felt discouraging at some point of time in their legal career. 25.2% felt it was discouraging. 17.4% found it encouraging, and 11.3% found it to be very encouraging. So in totality, when we get a complete picture of it, we find that the total discouraging responses, including the partial and the complete one, takes us to 68%. This shows that while many women are progressing, a large number continues to deal with structural and cultural hurdles and biases. Now, moving to question number 6, which asks about equal opportunity of leadership positions in the bar. It says, another important finding relates to the leadership roles. 57.8% believe women do not have equal opportunities in bar leadership. Only 42.2% feel opportunities are equal. Of course, we are extremely grateful to the Honorable the Chief Justice for making it much easier for us by providing multiple opportunities to contest in bar elections. However, despite this perception unequal access, which is addressed in question number 7 of the survey, 58.9% respondents say they are willing to take up leadership role in bar councils and bar associations, which is so encouraging. That means more and more women lawyers want to participate in leadership positions, while 30.4% are still exploring the idea of whether to participate in bar elections or leadership positions or not, which takes it to 89.3%, which is absolutely encouraging. And only 10.7% have rejected the idea straight away that they do not like to take up any position either in bar associations or bar councils. This shows a strong aspiration, to say the least, and the readiness amongst the women to step into leadership, even when institutional structures appear unfriendly and unwelcome many times. Now, moving to the next slide, slide number 5, the challenges in the profession. The bar chart on this slide outlines the main challenges that are faced by women advocates. Work-life balance seems to be taking a toll. It takes to actually 34.2% as the most severest concern of women advocates, followed by limited job opportunities, which is 16.4%, and lack of pay parity, which is at 14%. Inadequate mentorship is 13.7% of the responses. Other challenges that the respondents have indicated are unrealistic expectation of success in the profession, gap in training in courtcraft and drafting, etc. Mental health concern is at 2.1%, and the workplace sexual harassment is also a concern that definitely exists. These findings reveal that gender issues in legal profession are not limited to isolated experiences, but are part of a wider ecosystem of structural challenges that we are here to address. Slide number 6 is again an interesting slide. It shows the transition to judiciary. So invariably people talk about where are the women to go into the judiciary. So these questions address those issues. So the transition to judiciary from practice and the gender bias. Question number 8. It in fact says turning to career preferences. This slide shows a significant inclination towards the judiciary. 43.1% women want to transition to judiciary. 31.2% do not wish to do so, or they are tentative at this stage and they're still exploring with the idea, and only 25.8 are still exploring with the idea. So if we look at 43.1 and 25.8, this is absolutely encouraging where they would like to move to the judiciary. This indicates a strong aspiration to move into the bench that exists amongst the women. The gender bias chart reveals that 33.1% have experienced gender bias and 29.1% report occasional bias. Only about 23.1% say that they have not experienced bias at all, and around 76.9% makes up of the women who either say yes, they have faced gender bias, either frequently, occasionally, or they would prefer not to speak out, which is actually takes us to introspect why is it so. This confirms that gender bias, both explicit and implicit, continues to affect many women in this profession. Going to the next slide, 6 and 7, that actually deals with the idea of marriage, motherhood, and the professional support that women get in this profession. Marriage and motherhood significantly shapes women's professional realities. 38.2% faced hardship after marriage, which was asked in question number 11. Going to slide number 7, it actually shows us that 66.5% faced hardship when they decided to have a child. 68.7% had difficulty getting matters deferred when they had a child, because there were no hand-holding or support system or accommodation facilities that existed. In fact, question number 4 also shows that, 14 shows that the support system that exists for women lawyers, those who are mother and are the prime caregiver for their children, are absolutely inadequate. It shows only 52.4% receive support when they ask for accommodation due to childcare or family responsibilities. That actually is a little more than the half of the women legal professionals of the survey that was conducted. Question number 15 shows at the same time, an overwhelming 95.4% believe that institutional policies such as maternity leave, creche facilities, workplace safety and flexible hours, and virtual hearings would greatly improve their professional journey. These data, read with the hardship faced in work-life balance, makes it evident that legal profession has to evolve as an inclusive profession, which might require structural changes to acknowledge the difficulties. Slide number 8, which talks about the career preferences for daughters and family members, because we wanted to know, now that you have suffered so much or you have struggled so much and made a mark for yourself, would you like to suggest the same legal profession to anybody else? So question 16 asks that and 17 asks that, and the response is 16 shows encouraging trends. 64.1% of respondents would recommend law as a career to their daughter or a girl in their close family, and about 20.7% said maybe they would recommend, whereas only about 15.3% said no, they would not recommend anybody around them, women, to join the profession. Question 17 again elicits an interesting response. When asked about preferred streams in the legal profession, 39.6% recommended judiciary as the preferred destination, followed by litigation at 36.1%. Corporate and academics follow thereafter. This shows that growing prestige and stability associated with judicial career but also about the fact that women are looking forward to job security and institutional benefits, which otherwise are absent in the litigation, such as the maternity benefit. Now, slide number 9, which talks about gender bias across generations, because the respondents in our survey range from below 10 years of experience to much more experienced women legal professionals. This slide shows cross-tabulate gender bias with first-generation status with more experienced ones. The first-generation women report higher levels of bias compared to second-generation women. This shows women without family networks often face additional invisibility, scrutiny, and barriers in this profession. The next slide, slide number 10, it talks about the consolidated view on marriage and motherhood. This slide collates 3 major indicators. It gives a clear picture that marriage and motherhood continue to impose disproportionate burden on women advocates, and that the absence of formal support system intensifies this pressure, along with the fact that women are primary caregivers. The next slide talks about career guidance based on generations. This slide compares how first generation and second generation lawyers guide the next generation on career path. Both groups most frequently recommend the judiciary. Among the first generation lawyers, recommendations are almost evenly split between litigation and judiciary, with a smaller but a visible tilt towards corporate roles and the least towards academics, something to worry about. Among the second generation lawyers, there is a stronger tilt towards the judiciary, relatively lower preference for litigation, higher interest in academics, and a low inclination towards corporate role. This shows that while both groups value the bench, the first generation respondents keep litigation and corporate strongly in view, whereas the second generation respondents are more inclined towards judiciary and academic path. The next slide, which is the last one, it talks about the career guidance based on years of practice. On being asked whether the career path that they would guide a woman in their family to pursue, a clear generational pattern emerged in this slide. Younger advocate with less than 10 years of practice showed a strong preference for judiciary and academics. This is likely because the paths offer greater job security, institutional benefit, and a sense of stability. In contrast, women with more than 10 years of experience were more inclined to recommend litigation and corporate practice. These choices reflect the confidence, networks, and professional grounding they have built over years in active practice. This suggests two findings which are important. First, the younger generation is increasingly drawn towards judicial career, possibly with an eye on the district judiciary to enter it. Second, the experienced women at the bar, they prefer practice-oriented career, reflecting their familiarity with the court craft, with the client work, and the broader opportunities that they get when they become senior in the legal profession. Now, to conclude, the survey presents a landscape that is honest. All our colleagues at the bar responded to this. It is layered, for sure, and it is forward-looking. It reveals both progress and persistent inequality. It highlights strong ambition among young women advocates, shifting career preferences across generations, and the clear need for supportive institutional policies. Above all, it reflects the resilience and determination of women who continue to shape and strengthen the legal profession every single day. I would like to specially thank all those 301 women who participated in this survey and allowed us to study and analyze this. I would also like to place thank you to Harini from Monica Ma'am's chamber, who did prepare the charts, and also Saileshwar Yadav, who is also a practicing advocate here, who helped in analyzing the data. Thank you all. Now, I would request Pragya to come here because it's time to take it forward to the national level. Can I request Honorable the Chief Justice to kindly inaugurate the national survey, because the idea is this was just a pilot survey. This was like testing the water. Now we would like to do the national level survey, and the survey will be available in the Supreme Court Bar Association website. I would encourage each one of you to participate. Thank you. Thank you.
Can I request the young members of the bar to give seats to the ladies here and women advocates here, please? Can I request the young members of the bar sitting behind or young advocates to give seats to the lady advocates? Can I request from the back side? Rohit, can you just look into it? Young male advocates to give seats? No, to even... No, I can, young female advocate also can get a allowed. Young male advocates, I'm requesting if they can give seats to the ladies advocates, female advocates, please. On this survey, when I was giving it, I was thinking which question is my favorite. So would you like your daughter to choose or pursue a career in law? I would say yes, because the Supreme Court bar has been very kind. From the day I interned, I gave an exam as advocate on record, and now the secretary of the SCBA. So definitely I would like my daughter to choose career as law. With this, we will go and to the panelist discussion, which you are all waiting for. So I request Ms. Aparna Bhatt, Senior Member Executive, SCBA, to start the panel discussion.
Thank you, Prati. My Lord the Chief Justice, Justice Nagaratna, Justice Pratibha Singh, Attorney General for India, and Madam Rashmi. It's our privilege to have you here. Justice Barale, thank you so much for coming today, sir. And the fact that Pragya is asking people to get up and give seats indicates the success of our invitation and participation from all the women. We are very, very grateful to everyone to have come here today. And we do hope those findings will encourage you to encourage and inform lawyers in other parts of the country to also take this survey. And let's see what findings are, what we come to know and how we can actually improve. So the way we have patterned this panel discussion is actually we would like to ask a few questions and we would like your opinion on it. And then we will open the to the audience, and maybe then they will ask some questions. So my first question is to my Lord the Chief Justice. Sir, as a first-generation lawyer and who has become the Chief Justice of India and as currently our head, what would you say about your journey in the legal profession? And also that 85% of the respondents in our survey are also first-generation women lawyers, which the survey just Ms. Anindita just showed. What do you think of how women's roles can evolve and also increase in the participation? And also you can sit there, we can, mic. It's working, sir.
My distinguished sister, Justice Nagratna, my brother, Justice Prasanna Brale, learned Attorney General, Justice Pratibha Singh, Professor Rashmi, Pragya, very distinguished senior advocates, learned Additional Solicitor Generals, members of the bar, and particularly the prominence which is so visible. Thank you very much for participating in this event. Before I respond to the very personal and very sensitive question which Aparna has asked me, let me first congratulate all of you. There are two very special days today. One is, as I address it, I call it as a Special Ability Day. And that's a very pertinent day that the organizers have chosen to organize this event for today. The second, I believe it is also Advocates' Day. So heartiest congratulations for both the special days for today. The question as a first generation lawyer and reaching up to the position of Chief Justice of India, I can very honestly and very frankly, I must share with you that initially, like anyone, when I also joined profession, there was a complete sense of uncertainty. I was definitely, as a first generation lawyer, there was none in the family to guide. The system was also completely strange and unknown to me. But then I was a very passionate student when I was doing law. And I had a lot of curiosity to know about the system, how it operates, how it works. And I had a lot of fascination when I was a college student, when I used to walk from my hostel to the college, walking in front of the house of the sessions judge, where it was a very big board was displayed, that is a sessions house. You know, they, as young children, and when this impressionable age, this is how you start learning and you create a passion for it. But having joined the profession, one thing I was very clear about it, that growth takes time. It is not something that I could expect any magic to happen in a day, in a month, or in a year. And I was mentally determined for that. I was ready to face any kind of struggle for that. I have no doubt in my mind. The reason is that I will just narrate only a few words. I know that time constraints will be there. When I completed my law and I started my district courts practice in Hisar, that was in a way my hometown. We had our own house in Hisar city. My family had given me a scooter also. I should be very, I'm always thankful to the family. I knew that I have my own house in Hisar, I have my own scooter also, and I used to go to district courts. But the day the district and session judge, after I argued a matter after 3-4 months, then he called all the senior advocates of the bar in the morning when he was to pronounce the judgment. And he asked me also, I was a young boy, I was 22 years hardly. So when all the prominent members of the bar, very seasoned advocates, very renowned persons, very eminent jurists, all of them were there. The courtroom was completely jam-packed. Then he said, don't spoil this boy in district court, send him to the high court. So My immediate reaction was that I don't know even, I have never seen the High Court and I have never been there. I do not know anyone. But the lawyers told me that you don't worry, we will find out something. And one of the senior advocate, a very renowned personality, one day he called me when I reached in the district courts. He asked me that tomorrow morning you will accompany me, we are going to Chandigarh and I will drop you there as a junior counsel. So when I say that I was mentally prepared for that growth will take time, I didn't even consult my parents and I said, yes, I will go with you. So I threw myself in a world which was completely unknown to me, alien to me, stranger to me. And I went to the High Court. First time I saw the building and I started working as a junior. But I must also say maybe that I was very, very fortunate. After 1 year of my their senior also, he somehow or the other, he decided that all drafting work I will do. After 3-4 months, he told me that he will start arguing the cases also. And I started arguing cases. My first judgment was where I got reversed a decree of divorce. A young woman was granted divorce. Against her, a decree of divorce was passed by District Judge Amritsar on the ground that she was suffering with schizophrenia. And I argued the appeal on her behalf before Justice G.C. Mittal. It is reported as Sanay Lata versus Baldev Raj. And I succeeded, I got that judgment reversed. So it gave me a lot of immense satisfaction. And I thought that, yes, I will be able to create space for myself in profession. Let me just add one more instance because that will help the young people. I was when in law final year, the family was of course pressing hard that I must think of joining some government job or service. So as a law final year student, I applied for judicial services. And final year student could apply at that time. But the Public Service Commission used to conduct the recruitment process. So by the time I passed the law, I joined the district courts. The examination was held after 6-7 months. And even before the result was declared, I shifted to the High Court and I started appearing, arguing cases, drafting cases. Then result was declared and I would say incidentally, I qualified. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court judgment came in Ashok Yadav's judgment, 1985 Supreme Court. The Supreme Court mandated that in the case of judicial services, a sitting judge of the High Court will be the expert and his opinion will be broadly binding on the Public Service Commission. So one of the learned senior judge who was number 3 in the High Court, before whom I had argued that matrimonial appeal, incidentally he was nominated as the expert. And probably when the list was supplied to him, he came to know about my name was not very usual name, it was a bit unique, there was no Suryakant other than me in the entire High Court. So he came to know that this boy has applied for it. So I got a call from his usher and he said, the judge has asked you to come to the chamber. I was terrified. I thought I must have committed some mistake. A very trembling way, I went inside the chamber and he snubbed me. You want to become a judicial officer? You should be ashamed of yourself. I didn't know how to react and what to answer. So I didn't react. I came back. And I couldn't sleep whole night because I had promised my family that I'm working hard for the interview. I will qualify, will try to qualify. It so happened that next day morning when I reached the court, I again got a call. The judge asked you to be there before 10 o'clock. The court work time started at 10 o'clock. So I reached in his chamber. Again, I was I was completely fearful. Then he told me, look here, if you want to become judicial officer, prepare yourself for interview, no difficulty. We will consider you on merits. But my suggestion is, profession is eagerly waiting for you. Don't join judicial services. I came out the chamber. I decided I will not appear in the interview, and I did not appear. But that, that gave me a lot of confidence that yes, I must work hard and I must try to create myself space in profession. Thereafter, I must be very, I had a very satisfying professional life. And by the 92, 93, 95, I had created my own space. My name was there in the profession. People knew me. I had a lot of clientele. I could make a choice in the matters which were where I was so to be engaged. And in 99, I thought I will expand the profession. I bought a plot in Gurgaon. I constructed a house. In 95, I constructed a house in Chandigarh. In 99, I constructed a house in Gurgaon where I thought I will have a complete establishment. I will have my Supreme Court practice also. But the fate thought otherwise. In 2000, I was appointed Advocate General and I dropped all those ideas. From there, then I went as a judge. So, ultimately, what I would like to emphasize is that profession, whether you are a first generation or even sometimes those who are coming from the background of the lawyers, but definitely for those who are from the first generation, the lot of patience, hard work, and your commitment to create your own identity, knowing fully well that sometimes it looks that the world around you is overcrowded, but there within that you have to create a space for yourself. And your commitment and your patience will definitely take you to that.
Thank you.
I
Thank
come
you.
to the second part of your question
Yes,
because
sir.
that pertains to my
Women.
young members of the bar, the women lawyers. I think what Dr. Nandita presented, that gives a very, very positive picture and it really encouraging figures, I would say. I was just looking toward the figures, the approximate figures, which they have given. more than 84% the lawyers are first generation lawyers. Look at the strength, almost 85%. The lawyers are the first generation. And out of them, almost 50% are there who says the profession is very encouraging. Only less than 10% are saying, please mark the present, only less than 10% are saying the profession is discouraging, very discouraging, or more discouraging. The total percentage comes to 10%. That shows the strength of the women lawyers. That shows their commitment. That shows that they have chosen this goal and path with a full determination. The success is bound to be there. Nobody can stop you once you have such a determination in you. Equal opportunities also, despite the fact that 42% are feeling that there is not equal opportunity, and they may be right also, absolutely right to that extent. But still, look at 80, say almost 70% of them, no, not 70, rather 90% of them, 58.9, that means 60%, and 30.4. More than 90% of them want to become leaders of the Bar Council and Bar Association. That shows the progressive attitude, that shows the instinct to fight, and that shows that you know that you are in a capacity, you have the capability to create your own space. And I am with you on this agenda. You must try to for that.
Thank you, sir. Sir, actually, I must also acknowledge the fact that what an important role you played by your judgment, reserving some posts in the Supreme Court Bar Association. In fact, me and along with me 2 others are here today because we got encouraged to contest because of that reservation. But I must also flag here that all of us won on merit. We didn't even take on and I don't think the reservation was needed for us. But the reservation encouraged us to actually contest. Otherwise, we would not even have considered. We are very grateful to you for that. I think Pragya and all 3 of us here, we won. When the election results happened, it was very surprising for us that we won on merit. We didn't need a reservation at all. But we are grateful to you, sir. So moving on, my Lord, Your Ladyship Justice Nagaratna, I wanted to ask you that as someone, ma'am, you are an inspiration to all of us. I can't tell you how many ways you're an inspiration to us. Having said that, ma'am, but I'm sure there have been, despite the fact that you are not a first-generation lawyer, but I'm sure there have been challenges. Our survey indicates that about 40% of women advocates would recommend the judiciary as a career path for the next generation. 43% expressed a desire to transition to the bench. But we know the number of hurdles that happens, especially higher judiciary. So, ma'am, would you like to, thinking about your own transition and how that happened, would you like to share some things with us and also encourage all of us, some insights that you can share with us?
See, there have been, first of all, good evening to everybody and a happy Advocates' Day today. Honorable Chief Justice of India, Justice Surya Kant, I thank him for accepting to be here. this evening, my learned brother, Justice Varle, Justice Pratibha Singh, learned Attorney General, office bearers of the SCBA, Professor Rashmi, learned senior advocates and friends. You were saying that there are some firsts or whatever I am leading, etc. Because you see, I come from a family where I am the first woman who was a graduate. I am the first woman lawyer in my family. The kind of backwardness we may have, I am not on social backwardness, but otherwise the economic and educational backwardness was there. So I already have some fuss. So when you are a first, you have to really, lead yourself rather than looking, up to somebody. And I may say after my graduation, I had a difficulty in starting my practice because we were staying in number 4 Tughlaq Road. My father was there as a Supreme Court judge. And both of us had decided that I had not practiced in Delhi, not even enroll in Delhi. So as per my decision, I had to go to Bangalore. I had no house to stay there. So from July, when the results came from the Campus Law Center up to October, I stayed at home. In fact, I may tell you that in July itself, in June when I had gone for summer holidays, I had given even my black coat to be stitched and I had given my telephone number. And the tailor kept asking, "Madam, are you going to join the bar or not? Your coat is ready, but you're not coming to take the coat." I told him, once I get a place to stay, I'll come to Bangalore and I will take the coat from him. So for 3 months, I sat at home, nowhere to go, no practice, no enrollment, and I had to only read or, spend time otherwise. But one day I decided to leave Delhi, and that was an important day. That was 24th of October 1987. I left Delhi. I said I'll try to get an accommodation anywhere in Bangalore. And therefore, somehow, I got accommodation, and hence I started my practice. So that first is always there. It is nothing new to me. You have asked with regard to the support.
Challenges and support.
Challenges and support. I might tell you, there is an adage that behind every successful man, there is a woman. But behind every successful woman, who is there? There is a family. Therefore, I am saying for a successful woman, there should be a family. Now, why do I say family? Because the woman has commitments not only in her professional life, but also in her family. Now, if the husband or the other members of the family, including the children, in-laws, take on the commitments and the work which a woman has to do in the family, she'll have more time to spare for her professional life. So that way I have been very lucky to have a very good family where I could, spend more time on my profession. That is one thing. Now, 3 things which were said earlier is entry of women lawyers in the bar. Now, we have sufficient number of women lawyers who have entered the bar. The problem is retention, and the third is advancement. We are all focusing on retention of women in the bar and their advancement. Now, how could that retention be there? Institutional support and opportunity, I feel, are important. What is the institutional support? From the support of the court as an institution, like a woman gets married, has children, whether there is a creche where she can have the children, to be in the creche, and opportunity. Now, why I say opportunity? Because whenever we think of names for the bench, we only think of visibility of the lawyers. Whether this lawyer has appeared before us, then only we can judge that lawyer's performance. But even if they have no opportunity, where is their visibility? And how does opportunity come? Opportunity comes when we are able to appear before the courts in cases if we aspire to be judges on the bench. And for that, the seniors must give the cases to the talented women juniors, not just domestic violence cases or family court cases. Because you're a woman lawyer, you go to those courts. Challenging complex criminal, civil, constitutional litigation, commercial litigation must be given by the senior advocates to the women juniors so that they can show their talent. Then the court must support the women lawyers by giving them an opportunity to be amicus curiae. The third way an opportunity must be given is by institutions. My now Honorable Attorney General is here. I'm saying that this, sir, 30% of the law officers of the central government, Union of India, and state government must be women advocates. At least 30% of the public sector units or the corporations, companies, government companies must have women advocates on their panels. Now we are saying visibility of women. If they have opportunity, they will definitely appear before the courts. If they are not given any, you see, either as law officers or as panel counsel, even similarly, 30% of all legal aid panels must have women. Then only there will be opportunity given. There will be retention in the profession. You see what the family will say to a woman. You are going from morning till evening. You are not attending to the household duties. You are not attending to the children. And at the same time, you are not earning. This is very, very, very stark remark which comes from the family sometimes. How will the woman face this? If she says, I have opportunity, I am empaneled, I have got cases, I am representing morning till evening, apart from private briefs, I am running an office, I have juniors, then what they say, Tana, no? In Hindi, in the family, that will not be there. Discouragement will not be there. Your children also will support you. They will know how to grow up even without the mother being around. So this institutional support is from the seniors and from the point of corporations, law officers, etc. Then in courts, how women are respected is very important. Many a time women advocates are referred to, I'm being very, very frank, sir, by saying they don't refer to them as learned counsel sometimes. They say she is saying this, she may not be in Supreme Court, may not be in Delhi, but I have practiced in trial court, I have practiced in the High Court. They won't say learned counsel to the woman advocate. They'll say she. That shows the attitude of the male counsel and the male lawyers. They have to treat the women lawyers as their equals and as their peers. And I have many more, but I'll curtail this for today. I think it is sufficient. My only request to my only request to Honorable Chief Justice of India is there are talented women in the bar, whether in the district courts or in the high courts or in the Supreme Courts. We want that the talents should be noticed and appropriately they must be, you see, the deserving women advocates must have their, what we call, the advancement in their careers. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, you spoke for all of us. We're very, very grateful to that. Taking a cue from what Ma'am Justice Nagaratna said, may I put this question to the learned Attorney General? Sir, what do you think about this suggestion about making sure that the government and public sector undertakings engage more and more women lawyers for their briefs? And also, do you think that we have to have a minimum number of ASGs? Do you think we need to have affirmative action as far as women are concerned in appointment of ASGs? Sir, we know, we don't have to say, at least in Supreme Court, all of us are familiar with the brilliant work that the women ASGs are doing. I don't have to take their names, and they're sitting here. And sir, they're the busiest and honestly one of the real, we don't have words to describe how well they're doing, sir. You know much better than us. What do you think of this, sir?
Thank you for calling me today evening. I feel very young. And I was just counting the total number of probably participants here. Just a quick head count, I thought, is roughly around 500 people here. And then a quick count, again, I found more than 3/4 or 3/5 are women here. And I was asking myself the question, how many of you, probably more than 80 to 90% of women who are present here must be first generation lawyers and first generation law students. Am I right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That means there's a lot of good feeling that is being generated by an assembly like this. So we should, I think, probably expand it at a national level. So I went through this finding. Before I come to the PSU's issues, and last year I was able to be probably part of a holy work on my part when the senior designation issue came before the Supreme Court committee. And my suggestion as an Attorney General was, please look at first generation women lawyers. And I know large number of them have been designated. And I voted very, very strongly in their favor. And of course, I've been talking to the Chief Justice and of course, Chief Justice Surikant, that you only picked up a few of them today as judgeship. Pick up as many as possible. Reduce the age. Don't look at 45, 42. So in arguing a matter regarding the criminalization before the Chief Justice Gawai, he said, look here, people don't come at 45, 42. I said, please ask people who would volunteer. The people are very hesitant to volunteer. So therefore, reduce the age and then encourage them to come up and say, well, I would like to volunteer. Now, as far as the PSU are concerned, why should we reduce only to the PSUs? I think any opportunity that must be made available must be explored. I look in terms of an arbitration panel, arbitration lawyers. So today we have in India initial arbitration center. It doesn't have a woman heading that center. So we start with some examples like that. So PSUs constitute only a very small part, not at the national level, yes, but at the entire, if you look at each state, there are a large number of PSUs. So could there be a small change in the Advocates Act? Let's have a special provision for women in the Advocates Act. Special promotion provision for women in the Advocates Act. And if you look at that, then you start from law schools and you're encouraging first generation law students to become more equipped. And thereafter you think about giving opportunities for them. Today, opportunities come in a very, very small way and in a very unstructured way. It comes for individuals because you have a lot of contacts. So how do you therefore structure opportunities? If we don't structure opportunities, probably we'll keep talking about opportunities for a long more time to come. But we need to see institutional changes. So I quite agree that I know a lot of people whom I've seen have grown in the bar in the past 45 years. I like their growth. But then when I go to many law schools, I find still all these problems are there. And you need a lot of women students getting into law schools. In many law schools, they are outnumbering men. Very good, absolutely good. So therefore, it's important for talk in terms of structuring these suggested changes and how do you go about it. As we talk about, I think it's important for us to bring about through a process of law. And only law happens, I think things happen. In the absence of a law, voluntary initiatives, have a little slow and time to take, things like that. I suppose I would vote in favor first of a national sample survey like what you have done in entry, and let it include all bar associations, bar councils, and also law schools. When you get a national sample survey, then we have a great amount of inputs and data to show, look, Mr. Parliament and Mr. Governments, please do this. And why don't you awake? We must go beyond the 33rd person reservation. We must look at things beyond that. How can it really happen? So I think I would welcome setting up any kind of initiative under the aegis of the Attorney General. So I would, before I conclude, and at a personal level, Mrs. Venkatramani was my first junior, right? And she was not even a graduate, but then she knew shorthand. So when I came to practice in Supreme Court, we started working together. I used to dictate, and she used to take, and I told her, you must study law. After her children were born, she studied law. And then she became a lawyer thereafter. She could not come today. She wanted to come today. And whenever I go in public platforms, I say she is my editor-in-chief, right? I don't mind saying that. It's important for us by personal examples, how do you really encourage in your personal life, in your family life, what you do, a good example, isn't it? So I finally, I had large amount of interaction with Justice Krishnaya. I remember whenever he used to talk about in public platform women, he used to carry his kerchief in his right hand and say women empowerment. I could feel that the force of his words, I talk about way back in 86 or 87, they're still alive with me. The women empowerment, that powerful words. So I think that echo or the women empowerment must be a national echo. And if it becomes national echo, many of these questions will probably get their answers in due time. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I think we will definitely come to you and take up on what you just told us. We're very grateful for that. And also, these things, this support actually means a lot to us. Many of us, the Bar Association as well as all the women lawyers here, will definitely come and explore, sir. So now moving on to the person who's actually managed to break the gas ceiling in a way that we can't even imagine. Ma'am, Justice Pratibha Singh, you had such a remarkable career. And I have a personal thing to share that I've looked up to her from the time I was in first year of law. She was 1 year senior to me. We've all looked at her with awe from that day, and I continue to do that, ma'am, even today. And considering you had such a remarkable career, and and also you've taken a path which is not conventionally taken by many women lawyers when they start out. Given that, could you share with us how was it for you when you started, the challenges you faced, perhaps the comments you had from the male coterie around you, and how did you overcome that and manage to, you have set up things, I don't think we have the time to go through what all you've done so far, ma'am. Please do share some of those thoughts with us. Thank you.
A very good evening to all of you. This is the first panel where I think I'm privileged to share with the Honorable Chief Justice of India and Justice Nagaratna, the learned Attorney General, and all the other panelists. Firstly, thank you to the Supreme Court Bar Association and especially Pragya, under the leadership of Mr. Vikas Singh and Aparna and everyone for having me here. It's indeed an absolute privilege and pleasure to be here. But I want to say one thing before I move and answer the question, that the Honorable CJ, I wasn't aware, which I came to know just the day he took oath, that he's the first Chief Justice of India from Haryana. I was not aware of that. Heartiest congratulations to you on that first thing, because I think it's any first, even for a man or a woman, I think it makes a big difference. And secondly, I want to start off by saying that Pragya almost cheated me into this panel discussion by saying we'll have a small panel discussion, ma'am, on women and women empowerment. And I actually thought it's going to be in the Supreme Court Bar Library. And here we are in this huge auditorium. And that too, she did it on the badminton court, if I'm not wrong, on Saturday. So thank you for having me. I want to start by saying that, like all three of us on this dais today actually belong to Bangalore. And when I am a first generation lawyer. My family, I lost my mother when I was like 6 to 7 years old, brought up by my grandmother, who was a visionary. And she was the one who pushed me into law. I wanted to be a doctor. And I did science in my 11th and 12th. She thought I was good in debating, and when I couldn't go to Mandya district to do my medicine, she said, okay, do law. That was the first batch of the Bangalore University 5-year course. And when I graduated from there and went to the Bangalore City Civil Court for the first time to buy a gown, my grandmother asked me, Neenu affidavit lawyer aagtiya? Will you be an affidavit lawyer? So that's what she thought I would be. I had learned typing and shorthand, and I was hoping that I would be a stenographer in Vidhan Soda. I'm a senior qualified stenographer. So these are the kind of struggles that all of us have gone through. The breakthrough came to me when I went to Cambridge University on a full scholarship. And from there, I joined the Delhi High Court. And I remember I had got a job at Hindustan Lever as a management trainee. And when I went to Dr. Coutinho, who was my mentor in law college, he actually told me, you should not be sitting in an AC office. You should be on this side or that side in the court. That actually made me move to Delhi, a completely unknown city,
I didn't know a single soul when I entered Delhi. And as ma'am said, after that, I entered the Delhi High Court, and I must say, the encouragement and the positive atmosphere in our court. They never asked me from where I was. No one ever asked me what language I spoke, which religion I belonged to, which caste I belonged to. Delhi High Court is the truly most cosmopolitan bar I've ever seen in our country. And I was able to join in 1992 as a lawyer, worked in a leading law firm, and then this work that I started getting when I became independent just around my marriage, it was due to the blessings of my mother-in-law and my joint family. As ma'am says, it is the family which supports you for women to be able to pursue the career. The more we respect our elders, and I have a joint family, the more we respect our elders and our family, the more we are going to grow as women. Because when we have children, they are the ones who take care of our children for us. We won't be able to take care of them. And, you know, my son used to ask me, I remember, why doesn't Chachi go to court and why do you go to court? So grandmother and Chachi took care of the children. That's what made the difference. And I really think the biggest encouragement came from my spouse, whom you all know, whom I don't need to name. He was standing there like a rock all along. And as a professional, how did I start my practice? The most important thing happened because of the senior members in the bar. I don't mean senior advocates. They all realized that I did have a good specialization in intellectual property. So they used to give me small cases to draft with very minimal fee if a client came to them. So I would draft it, give it to them, and then say, sir, I'll appear free for you in the court. I'll brief your senior for you. So that's how the supporting ecosystem of lawyers encouraged me, and I started getting one brief after the other in intellectual property. I used to be a junior to my husband initially, but then carved a niche in intellectual property. And what happened in intellectual property is, the most important thing that I felt made the difference was to be able to read and read and read, work hard. In your survey, the biggest problem that women have mentioned is work-life balance. I want to say, for women, work, work, work. There is no work-life balance. Life is work and work is life. That's the only thing that can make you succeed, because for women, professional work is not the only work. Household work is work, domestic work is work, family work is work. So work is itself the life, and life is itself the work. Two more things I want to add. Initially, I never had any briefs. There was this journal called Patent and Trademark Cases, which was published in the Delhi High Court, which was one of the first journals in intellectual property. So the editor of that journal, who knew me because I used to be there in the High Court, he told me, Madam, aap head notes bana denge iske liye. So I used to make head notes free of cost for that journal for several years. This way, I used to keep abreast of all the latest case law which was coming in intellectual property. And that's how I was really kind of keyed onto the law. The second thing is, the Department of Science and Technology used to ask me to speak in various seminars in the initial years itself. They would not pay anything. They would just cover your flight charge and accommodation. So I would go give awareness in universities, etc. about intellectual property law. So that's how I started my career. And that's how I started getting one brief after the other, and then made a name in intellectual property. I can say that I used to start reading Economic Times. Reading. Because when any business house came to me for an advice, I would say, okay, aapka IPO aa raha hai agle mahina. How is that going? So the clients would be so impressed. They would think that, you know, this lawyer knows not just about the case, but generally about the business and the economics. So reading a lot, working hard, as the Honorable CJI said, is the key and the core mantra to succeed. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Now, moving to our last panelist, Professor Salpekar, being in the academics now, why did you choose, first of all, academics over practice, law practice? That is one thing. And I would also ask what kind of, amongst the women students that you have, what do you see, what kind of future do you envisage for them? And what kind of encouragement are you able to provide as part of your legal education to them?
Thank you so much. First of all, let me thank Supreme Court Bar Association for giving me this opportunity to be here. When I'm here, all my students, all my faculty, actually we all would like to thank Honorable Chief Justice of India, Honorable Justice Nagaratna ma'am, Shri Attorney General Sir Venkatramani sir, and Pratibha ma'am, Honorable Judge, Delhi High Court, that someone from academics is in the panel. So this is what is, we all are happy. Why I have joined academics? I love teaching, first of all, and I'm blessed that I got such kind of guidance and mentorship from my teachers. So I belong to Nagpur, and therein you will find that the distance is not a problem, and connect with teachers is as good as they are your family members and you are a component of their family. So like after the classes, maybe you will be in the library or maybe you will be at home of your teachers. So that kind of connect you will find when I was in Nagpur. And very good colleagues, very good friends and everything. But then whatever the interest I was getting and whatever the teachers they were telling me, so this is how I have just started my journey. First of all, I appeared in Maharashtra State Human Rights Commission, that particular interview, and I stood first. So they were just thinking that whether a girl from Nagpur, whether she will come to Mumbai or not. But then I reached over there. Then after that, in Mumbai, I got the fellowship from ICSSR. So they were just wondering that whether she will leave the job and whether she will take up full-time fellowship or not. But I reached in Delhi, and then I did it. And then I got married, so I settled in Delhi. So this is what is my journey. And I know that most of us who are there, they are also having this kind of journey. Now, in this journey, I would like to say, there are some structural things which are lacking in our legal profession, if I may say. For example, I just got an advertisement in the newspaper, I applied and then I reached over there. But however, whether in any law firm, in any law office, whether there is any opportunity or not, for that matter, if you are in connect with someone, then only you will be able to know. Otherwise, a girl who have come from Nagpur now got married with a software engineer, how she will be able to know that where to go and from where to start. So therefore, if there is an advertisement in the newspaper regarding academics, and if you are really love to teach, you will go forward. So my point is that some structural reforms are required to take care of first generation lawyers. And that is also women, they are having hesitation. It's not something that they are having that shyness or so, but they don't like to do, to make request much. So therefore, what they exactly want, that whatever is there, they would like to have it without having any adjustments at their family front, because we cannot deny that the family is the first priority for most of the women. So for that matter, not necessary that they are required to sacrifice, but some structural reforms are required to be there so that they will be having a good choice that whether to join academia, whether to join litigation, whether to join for judiciary. And one more thing, I always believe that as we need good judges, as we need good lawyers, we need good law teachers also. In this survey, I have seen that most of the advocates, as per the survey, they are not willing to go for academia. But however, we need good law teachers. We need passionate law teachers, because whatever you are saying that, we are required to prepare our future generation, that future generation is with us. We are with them for 5 years. So therefore, I want that great minds should join academics, at least for some years. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We have, we can go, we can hear the panelists. There's such inspiring interventions from them. Unfortunately, time is running out. So we'll move on to some questions. The first question is from Smriti Kumari to my Lord Justice, my Lord the Chief Justice.
My heartfelt gratitude to all the respected member on the dais. माननीय मुख्य न्यायाधीश महोदय नमस्कार। मैं स्मृति कुमारी, अधिवक्ता व सदस्य कार्यकारिणी सर्वोच्च न्यायालय विधि संघ। हमारे देश में अनेक प्रतिभाशाली महिलाएं, विधि छात्राएं, वकील और न्यायाधीश बनने के इच्छुक अपनी शिक्षा और प्राथमिक भाषा के रूप में मातृभाषाओं का उपयोग करती हैं। वर्तमान में उच्च न्यायालयों व सर्वोच्च न्यायालयों में मुख्य रूप से अंग्रेजी का प्रभुत्व है, जो इन महिलाओं के लिए भाषा की एक बड़ी बाधा उत्पन्न करता है, जिससे उनके बराबरी के अवसर और प्रतिभा पूर्ण रूप से बाधित होता है। मेरा प्रश्न माननीय मुख्य न्यायाधीश महोदय जी से यह है कि मातृभाषा से पढ़कर आने वाली महिलाओं के लिए आप कौन से महत्वपूर्ण कदम उठाना चाहेंगे ताकि यह सुनिश्चित किया जा सके कि मातृभाषाओं से पढ़कर आने वाली महिलाओं को अपने कानूनी कैरियर में समान अवसर प्राप्त हो सके, खासकर उच्च न्यायालयों व सर्वोच्च न्यायालयों में।
सबसे पहले तो मैं स्मृति कुमारी को बधाई दूंगा। आपका प्रश्न बहुत ही संवेदनशील है और ये हमारी भारतीय संस्कृति का भी प्रतीक है। इसमें कोई दो राय नहीं हो सकती। मातृभाषा का मान सम्मान हम सबको करना है और न्यायिक व्यवस्था में भी हिंदी भाषा का और हमारी जितनी भी क्षेत्रीय भाषाएं हैं उनका संपूर्ण रूप से सदुपयोग हो। वो भाषाएं हमारे दिनचर्या में, हमारी कानूनी व्यवस्था में अभिन्न अंग बने, इन सब के लिए हमें प्रयास करना है। इस मामले में सर्वोच्च न्यायालय ने जो अब तक कदम इसमें उठाए हैं वो बहुत ही सराहनीय हैं। आपको पता है कि जितने भी हमारे फैसले यहाँ पर आते हैं, जजमेंट, वो 16 भाषाओं में उनका रूपांतरण अभी शुरू कर दिया गया है, जिसमें ऑफ कोर्स हिंदी भी हमारी प्रमुख भाषा है। हिंदी के अलावा जितनी भी हमारी क्षेत्रीय भाषाएं हैं उसमें हमने उसको शुरू किया है। जहाँ तक सुप्रीम कोर्ट में और हमारे कोर्ट परिसर में यहाँ पर हिंदी भाषा का जहाँ तक प्रयोग की बात है, इसका मैं एक गहन अध्ययन कराऊंगा कि इसमें कैसे हम धीरे धीरे अब अलग भाषाओं को भी इसमें सम्मिलित कर सकते हैं अंग्रेजी के साथ। इसका भी उतना ही सदुपयोग हो, प्रयोग हो हमारी दिनचर्या में, कोर्ट की अपनी कार्रवाई में। एक चीज़ आपने हमेशा नोट कर लीजिएगा, और मैं एक छोटा सा आपको एक बीच में एक उदाहरण दूंगा। मैं this I can explain to everyone and in the simple language that everybody will understand. In 2010 to 2014, I was chairman of the recruitment committee of judicial officers in my high court. The average strength of the women judicial officers in Punjab and Haryana was hardly 20%, and by the time I left that committee, the percentage reached to 46%. One example I am giving you. Second example, this is why I am saying that when we have the commitment, we will find out the ways and means. I am coming to Hindi. In one of the interviews, a candidate from Madhya Pradesh, he had qualified in the written exam. He appeared before me. The interview committee was sitting like that. 3 judges, 1 advocate general, and the chief secretary were there in the selection committee. So when I asked the question, I could see that the boy is unable to respond in English. And fortunately for the candidate and for me also, it took me only hardly few seconds to understand it. तो उसी वक्त मैंने उसको एक प्रश्न किया कि आप ये बताइए, आपकी कानून पढ़ने के अलावा आपकी आदत क्या है, क्या लाइक करते हैं? उसने कहा जी मैं गाना बहुत अच्छा गाता हूँ। तो मैंने उसको उसी वक्त कहा कि मोहम्मद रफ़ी का फलां गाना गाइए। इंटरव्यू में, जुडिशियल इंटरव्यू में, और उस लड़के ने बहुत ही सुर में वो गाना गाया, और प्रॉब्ली उसके अंदर ये लग रहा था उसको कि मैं अब रिजेक्ट तो हो गया हूँ, मुझे क्योंकि जवाब तो आया नहीं, और ये मुझे ऐसे ही थोड़ा सा ये करके भेज रहे हैं, एक काइंड ऑफ संवेदना दे करके। जब वो गा रहा था तो मैंने मेरे दोनों जजेस जो साथ बैठे थे उनको टच करके बोला कि उसको कोई क्वेश्चन नहीं करोगे। That boy is today additional district judge in Haryana. तो है क्या, किसी भी भाषा के प्रयोग के लिए हमें संवेदनशील होना है। आप कभी कोर्ट में देख लीजिएगा, मैं बीच में बोल देता हूँ हिंदी में, मैं कई बार लिटिगेंट्स को भी बोल देता हूँ, कई बार लॉयर्स को भी बोल देता हूँ, कई बार खासकर वकील को धमकाने के लिए तो जरूर यूज करता हूँ। ये धीरे धीरे क्या है कि हमें इस इनहिबिशन को खत्म करना है कि ये ठीक है, हमारे लॉ इंग्लिश में बने हैं, हमारा प्रोसीजर इंग्लिश में है, लेकिन अब जब देश इतनी प्रगति कर रहा है और हम अपने आप को आज एक ऐसी ऊंचाई पर लेकर गए हैं और हमारा जुडिशियल सिस्टम में भी उसी तरह इतना ही अच्छा प्रोग्रेस किया है। हमने एक बहुत अच्छी रोबस्ट जुडिशियल हमारा इंस्टीट्यूट अगर खड़ा किया है तो उसको, और हम जब एक्सेस टू जस्टिस की बात करते हैं, रीच आउट की बात करते हैं, तो मैंने मीडिएशन में भी अटॉर्नी जनरल साहब की कॉन्फ्रेंस में बात कही थी कि मीडिएशन की जब बात चली थी कॉन्फ्रेंस में, कि मीडिएशन में हमें उसकी भाषा बोलनी है जिसके लिए हम मीडिएशन कर रहे हैं, और वो हमारी केवल ये ऐसी भाषा नहीं, मैं हिंदी या गुजराती या तमिल तेलुगु की बात नहीं मैं कर रहा, मैं उसमें लोकल डायलेक्ट को भी डालना चाहता हूँ। आप इवन तेलुगु में, तमिल में, किसी भी भाषा में थोड़ा से क्षेत्र के बाद हमारा लोकल डायलेक्ट बदल जाता है। तो जब हम जिस हमारी कॉम्पिटेंस लेवल की इन्फ्यूजन की बात करते हैं, हम टेक्नोलॉजी को जब यूज़ करें, एआई को है, किसी भी तरह, इसका जो हमें कंस्ट्रक्टिव यूज जो करना है, प्रोग्रेसिव जो यूज करना है, that has to be used for the purpose of that last man in the street. And we must speak in judicial system the same language that man wants to listen, that person wants to listen. And for that purpose, definitely we will encourage all the languages. Hindi being our national language, of course, we feel proud, we feel pride in promoting Hindi.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Lordship.
See, I would like to add one thing. Let us see that India is a subcontinent. India is a subcontinent virtually. We have in the 8th schedule, there are so many languages. In South India, we have at least 6 languages. We cannot be very inclusive. I mean, we cannot be very, exclusive in our language. What connects South India amongst the different states of the South is English. So let us not forget that. If I go to Tamil Nadu and nobody speaks in English, and I know Hindi, nobody speaks in Hindi, nobody speaks in English, then how do I converse in Tamil Nadu? Or if a Tamilian comes to Karnataka, and everybody is to speak only in Kannada and not in Hindi or English, then how will the Tamilian be? See, you must understand India as a subcontinent. We are not saying, I'm not on politics here, but in the district courts, we have our individual languages, Kannada language and Tamil language. District court judges, in fact, they are given prizes in Karnataka when they write in Kannada language. But in the constitution, when it comes to High Court and Supreme Court, English is the official language. Otherwise, how do we transfer judges from one court to another? If you are going to speak only, you have to write in Kannada, then no non-Kannadiga judge can come to the High Court. So please have some kind of a moderation in this. I am not, yes, there is a moderation is required when we say this, because we don't want to be isolated. We South, we don't want to be isolated because we don't know Hindi. This is what I'm saying coming from the South. Thank you.
This is the real panel discussion we are having.
Only one line I would like to add. If you will go to different parts of the world where mostly Indians are settled, and if you inquire from them that what is one of the reason of their success story, each one of them will tell you that their adaptability to English language in India, and particularly you are developing your own dialect in English also, that you don't speak American English, you don't speak even European English, you speak your Indian English. That itself has become a very big strength for the Indians to be very successful beyond our geographical boundaries.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. My next question will be from Aparajita Singh, Senior Advocate, to my Lady Chief Justice. Before that, the learned attorney wants to say
No,
something.
it's just a personal example. Since we must, all of us must set examples, and I'm not talking about myself. So after my appointment, I was invited to the Bar Council of Tamil Nadu for a felicitation function. And that happened in a day when people were graduating as lawyers. A huge crowd, about 7 to 800. I just looked at the congregation, and most of them were women, right? And I thought I must do something on that occasion. I told the Bar Council chairman, please pick up 5 women graduates who are enrolling today, who come from extremely poor families, right? I would like to adopt them and pay them to set up their practice in the initial stage. We identified 5 of them who come from most economically deprived families. Somebody was selling, a mother was selling vegetables, a father was a construction worker. So I did the selection myself. So I'm supporting every year now at least 5 women lawyers in this way. I suppose if senior lawyers can follow this example, we would probably set in front of him.
I think that's a very good example to follow, sir. Thank you for sharing that with us. Aparajita, her question to her ladyship now.
Yes.
Good evening, ma'am. My question is on maternity leave that your lordships just referred to. I've seen a lot of lawyers, young lawyers, who are on maternity leave, and they don't come from a privileged background, and they don't have family in the city. So necessarily the woman has to take a back seat. And then by the time they come to the profession, they feel demotivated and they feel disconnected. And during this period, whatever little clients they have, they are gone and they have lost the trust of the client. So is there a way that those people, they are inspired by the system because we have legal aid, as your lordships already indicated, the 25% reservation in the legal aid could be for women. So these kind of women who want to work, who are very capable, but because of the circumstances, they don't find their foot in when they come back because it's like starting all over again. So could your lordships...
You're speaking about women lawyers.
Women lawyers, your lordship.
Who go on maternity leave.
Maternity leave, because then they don't have... There are some who are privileged to have a background where they can have helpers. There are some who live with the family, so the family takes care. Some who have very cooperative husbands, I must say, they take their share of the burden. But there are I have seen many women getting demotivated, and they come back to the profession, but they realize it's not possible. I mean, they somehow they're not able to integrate it with the profession. And the second one, ma'am, on a lighter...
Let me answer this first.
Yes.
See, to some extent, now the video conferencing facility has helped. Women with infants or unwell women advocates, or if they have other responsibilities on a particular day, they can appear through the VC facility. My only submission is that when women appear through the video conferencing facility, there should be no bias against them because they are sitting in their house and appearing. In some courts, I'm not saying about the Supreme Court, in some courts, any person appearing through the VC facility, is not given that kind of an importance. And the judge will say, why don't you come here and argue the case instead of sitting from the VC? They have other, because of these exigencies, either they are expecting, in fact, in one court, the lady had to say, my lord, I'm expecting, and the doctor asked me to take rest, therefore I'm appearing through VC, she had to disclose. Because otherwise she thought the case will be going against her because she is not appearing in person. Such prejudices should not be there when women appear through VC. So they must make use of the VC facility. That is there in all courts. That's thanks to COVID we have this. Otherwise, you see, they have to have very, very trustworthy colleagues whom they can ask to appear for them. And I can say when my second daughter was born, I entrusted my matters, made a list of the cases, who would look after which case. And I had no help in Bangalore, so I had to go to Mysore, to my aunt's house when I was convalescing. Every morning, I used to make a phone call from Mysore to Bangalore about the cause list. And that time, there was no VC or neither was there any what we call email system, etc. Every morning, so-and-so matter and so-and-so case, I would say, you ask so-and-so to appear and give instructions. We will find our ways. So because of our passion in the profession, we will find our ways to come back. We should just come back after the children are born, back to the profession. And there the balance between the child on the one hand and the, the client on the other hand, we have to balance. Thank you for your question.
See, one structured mechanism in this regard can be introduced by the Bar Council and the Bar Associations. So, for example, when a woman lawyer is on maternity leave, why not compulsorily the drafting work should go to her?
Lordships. We are grateful, Your Lordship, for the suggestion.
You can think of
If there is, yeah.
Counterpart or male colleagues to support our sisters or the life partner who are in profession. And it's not something that we are doing a great job. We are only assisting, we are facilitating our counterpart to stand better in the profession or to allow her to be a partner, actual partner, a real life partner in the life, and not just sitting and ordering in the house, but to assist my life partner or my colleague, and whatever way I can assist her, make her life more convenient, more easy.
Thank you.
In such times where the lady is either ill or on maternity leave. So let us share the responsibilities to be a real life partner. That's my take.
Thank you, sir. May I request Ranjita Rothki? Yes. No, sir, I think so.
You can join us on stage.
Ranjita to the attorney.
Yeah, very good evening, sir. Sir, today we discussed about the inclusion or retaining of... Good evening, sir. Can you hear me? Yeah. So today in the discussion, we discussed about inclusion or retaining of women lawyers in the legal profession. So maybe a very pointed question to you, sir, but I would like to ask you, what would be your one urgent or on priority recommendation to the government to ensure that the next decade becomes a decade for women in the legal profession?
I wish I have the power to answer this question.
Recommendation, sir.
But how do you really make it happen? Who all should be involved in it is the first question. So today with all this, findings in this, I have one thing which comes out. I must apologize that I'm not going to answer your question directly. I'm going to beat around the bush a little and then try to probably find an answer to it. But from all this, right, these findings, what comes to your mind is that we have several facets which are something missing, something seriously missing, something inadequate, some half-hearted measures. So all these things make up the result of this investigation, right? So we must address each and every one of them. You probably will get an answer to it. Otherwise, it will be a very theoretical answer. We don't here for a theoretical answer. We want to look at actual practical solution that can come out of that. So that's one way I would like to probably answer your question. But to conclude, ever since I came into practice and even today, all my juniors are first-generation lawyers. Even today, about 4/5 of my chamber are women first-generation lawyers. Therefore, setting example is one way of getting things done. So if all of us can start setting examples, many of the questions will be answered. So that's where I would like to stop.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Now we have a question from Rashmi Katpalia. Oh, so sorry. Someone says, okay. Sir, I wanted to say something. No, sir, I'm so sorry, sir. I didn't see. Okay. Rashmi Katpalia, for your question to Justice Pratibha Singh.
Thank you. Honorable judges, and not just Justice Pratibha, but also Honorable Chief Justice and Justice B.V. Nagaratna. I think we are all empowered. Women empowerment is not something that we really need anybody to give to us. The strength and the success, I think strength we already have. In our country where we are considered the Devis, the goddesses. We have the strength. Wherever you put us, we get the success. It's the struggle that we are struggling with. In a daily routine, in a litigation lawyer's life, I have a suggestion and I would like to know what we can do about it. We have our cause list, and this of course is relevant for our male colleagues also. We have the cause list, and sometimes we are just waiting for our matters to come up, and that's where our work-life balance also comes in. And the matter will come up at the end of the day where our children or our family required us on that particular day. So can we do something about fixed hearings, fixed time hearings in our cause lists where we can have a request, maybe with a special reference to the lady lawyers?
Pratibha ma'am, could you?
Rashmi, that's a very mischievous question. We already have categories in our cause lists for senior citizens and for specially abled lawyers. But considering the large number of women lawyers, I do not think, from my experience, it is possible to have fixed hearings for women lawyers specially. In fact, that would actually prove to be contrary to women lawyers' interest, in my own view. We have to integrate into the existing system rather than asking for special slotting, is my personal view. Yes, on a particular day or during a particular period like pregnancy or anything, yes, if the women lawyers do require any special preference, they can always mention in the morning, and that preference the judge will always give. But on a daily basis to have a special preference for women lawyers, I think that would not just be impossible, that may also be a little unfair. So I think while we have our strength and we should prove that we are equal, causeless preference, subject to what the Honorable CJI would say, is a little difficult in my own personal experience as a judge, I think.
Yeah, I have one point on this cause list. See, on the issue of cause list, in the High Court, some of the High Courts, the cause list comes out very late. So the women lawyers have to wait till the cause list comes out on the mail. Sometimes it's 8:30, 9. And they have to go home because they have to prepare for the next day. So I think, sir, the cause list must be released very fast in the High Courts so that the women can, take the files home and read it and, divide the cases amongst their juniors and all that. If you are going to wait till 9 p.m., 8:30, 9 p.m. or beyond that, waiting for the cause list, then you divide the cases, then you take the cases home to read, then the whole, by the time you go home, the children are asleep. I think, sir, the cause list must be released quickly, as early as possible, like at 6 p.m. or within 7 p.m. in the High Courts. And if there are any additional supplementary lists, can be given later on. This is one thing which will help women lawyers, especially if they can return home early, it helps. Thank you.
I think the release of cause list on time is not only the women lawyers, in fact, all the litigants, the other lawyers also, the men lawyers also will be equally benefited. And it works to a lot of the advantage of the judges also, because once they know that at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, that what are the matters listed before them. Cause list means that paper book will also reach at the judge residence, and they will be able to spend more time on the homework which each one of us is required to do before coming to the court. Having said that, I think that in Supreme Court we have gradually been able to take care of this problem. The cause list, I am very constantly now monitoring it, and I am quite sure that it will be published definitely before 7 p.m., around 6 p.m. or so. Supplementary list, yes, sometimes very urgent matters comes and it might take some time, but even the supplementary list will also never be delayed. That much mechanism we have already introduced, and we will make sure that no inconvenience is caused to the members of the bar, including, of course, women members of the bar in that regard. About the High Courts, whenever the meeting takes place, I will request the Honorable Chief Justices. There are, I would say, structural impediments in the sense that I may not like to interfere in the day-to-day functioning of the High Courts, but we can definitely, like my sister has very pertinently pointed out, given a suggestion, we will pass on and we will impress upon the Chief Justice of the High Court that they should take it in the right perspective, and for the purpose of helping not only the lawyers but even the consumer of justice and their own colleague judges, that the list should be released on time. I think that's a good initiative, and that shows the periodical improvement in the justice delivery system also.
Thank you, sir. The last question of the day is Vidya Power. Mike. There are many requests. Unfortunately, please understand, we're talking about work-life balance. Let's give work-life balance to judges also who are on the panel here. So this is the last question, and I'm sure we'll have more opportunities to raise our queries. Pragya, can you take over from here?
All of the panelists. My question is regarding the recruitment in higher judicial service exam and women's entry in that. There is no uniform upper age limit prescribed for the women who are aspiring to give the higher judicial exams in India, because some states are prescribing some age limits, some states are prescribing some age limits, and there is also some states are not asking any exam fee, some states are asking exam fees, some states are giving age relaxation. So there should be some kind of uniformity all over India regarding this higher judicial exam for the concerning with the women to allow their entry into the judicial systems. This is the
No, you are primarily highlighting the anomalous situation arising in different states and different high courts in the matter of prescription of minimum or maximum age in the recruitment to judicial services, particularly the higher judicial services. You see, that's a very pertinent issue, and that should be effectively addressed. That's in the interest of the system itself. You will appreciate that this is one issue that falls within the domain of a high court under Article 235. Barring that, in a matter on judicial side, like in recent time, the Supreme Court has delivered some judgments introducing some, kind of uniform pattern of recruitment, appointment, or service conditions of judicial officers. It can be a welcome step that if the eligibility conditions are also on all India basis are uniform. That definitely is a welcome step. But that is not something that on administrative side I or my sister will be able to do it. Yes, of course, like the cause list I was talking, we can definitely speak to the Honorable Chief Justice of the High Courts and request to have a kind of a consortium of maybe a committee of Chief Justices, then they can formulate a set of model rules, then those can be adopted in all the high courts, and that can introduce and infuse a uniform and all India culture in the matter of recruitment of judicial officers. Of course, one of the suggestions which keep on coming, and I have been receiving representations we have been having discussions even when I was a High Court judge, when I was a Chief Justice of the High Court, and even after coming here. One way the people say that introduce some all India judicial services. These are all, ideas which coming forth, which may really be an effective answer to the issue which you are raising. But it's a pertinent issue that requires consideration.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm very sorry, I have to cut it short. We have to keep some time. Thank you so much to all the panelists. Pragya.
Thank you, ma'am. I request Ms. Samta Pushkana Mishra, Member Executive SCBA, to kindly give the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Pragya ma'am. Good evening to everyone. On behalf of the Supreme Court Bar Association, I express my extreme gratitude to all those who have contributed to the success of today's panel discussion. We are deeply honored by the gracious presence of our chief guest, Honorable Justice Surya Kant, Chief Justice of India. Sir, your words of wisdom and encouragement motivate us in strengthening our legal community. Our sincere thanks to our esteemed guest of honor, Honorable Justice B.V. Nagaratna, Judge Supreme Court of India. Madam, your insights and your unwavering commitment to strengthening the role of women in legal profession are truly inspiring. We are deeply grateful to Learned Attorney General for India, R. Venkata Ramani, for his encouraging words and sharing his valuable thoughts. Our extreme thanks to Honorable Justice Pratibha M. Singh, Judge, High Court of Delhi, for being a guiding force for many women in legal profession. We also express our deepest appreciation to Professor Rashmi, Dean Vivekanand School of Law, WIPS, for her meaningful contribution enriching the dialogue with an academic vision. We are deeply thankful to the Honorable Justice Prasanna B. Virale, Judge Supreme Court of India, senior law officers, senior advocates, and members of the bar, especially women advocates in large numbers from different bar associations from Delhi, NCR, Haryana. And special thanks to more than 300 women advocates who participated in our survey and large number of students and faculty members who have joined us today. A special word of gratitude to the members of organizing Subcommittee Ladies Welfare and Lecture Series Committee under the guidance of Dr. Monica Gusai ma'am, Ms. Aparna Bhatt ma'am, and Dr. Anandita Pujari ma'am. We are deeply thankful to our entire committee members for their dedicated effort in making this event possible. I extend my sincere thanks to learned Secretary General, other registrars of the Supreme Court for their support. We are thankful to our staff, media team, and everyone working behind the scene for ensuring smooth conduct of program. Please join us for high tea.
EC members can come on stage for a photograph.
जाने दो चले जाना स्टेज तो अच्छे मैंने का फोन भी है
One second, lady lawyers from Gurgaon, Bhiwani, Rewari, who have specially